You'll never be rich. Sorry. When I saw this come up on my home screen, I just had to click on it because I could not even believe the title and I was very intrigued. So in today's video, I'm going to be offering my reaction as we watch this video. I'm a certified financial planner. I've worked at Morgan Stanley and E-Trade, helping hundreds of clients manage millions of dollars before I started my YouTube channel. So I'm very curious to see what's going on here. So grab your favorite drink and let's get into this.
Personal finance influencers encourage their followers to believe in a distorted reality where all you have to do to become rich is make a few changes to your finances.
It really is only a few changes to most people's finances to make a drastic difference in how their future plays out. That doesn't mean those changes aren't huge or challenging, but it is typically just a few things.
The likelihood of you or any average person building wealth by saving money, by investing and living frugally is highly unlikely, is basically 0 to none.
It's 100% unlikely. If you don't try to improve your finances, they're not going to improve on their own. And I know this from managing my own money and going from living in poverty and being able to accumulate a sizable portfolio now well into my 30s after years of proper financial management and really taking this stuff seriously. And because it's been so life-changing for me, it led me to leave my corporate job and start this YouTube channel to help more people understand that they can do it themselves. Anyways, let's get back into it.
So in today's video, I am going to share what personal finance influencers don't want you to know about saving money, creating passive income, and the most shocking thing you will ever hear about lifestyle creep.
There is nothing that I don't want you to know. It's quite the opposite in reality. I want to expose a lot of the messed up stuff that is in the finance space, but I've seen it more in the wealth management space.
If personal finance gurus told you that investing is only for the rich, you wouldn't buy their books, pay for their courses, or watch their videos.
Yeah, my whole thing is investing is not only for the rich. In traditional finance, investing has been only for the rich. That's why I left corporate America, because we would literally have to turn away clients that had less than $100,000. And even at $100,000, that was the low end of the scale. That was really hard for me to deal with personally because I wanted to help people that didn't have that huge net worth tap into the power of investing to grow what little money they did have or were able to save, like I was able to, because it's been absolutely game-changing in my life.
Believing that investing can make you rich is not only naive, but it can actually hurt you financially.
Investing can make you rich. It's gonna take a long time if you're working with a small budget, but it absolutely can make you rich.
For starters, the stock market is so volatile and hard to predict, and anyone promising to teach you how to invest to get rich is lying to you.
I've used investing to almost double my money, but I did invest in a really strong market over the last 5 years, except for last year. And I was able to save a bunch of money to get it working for me. But I didn't start out that way. I started with $1,000 and I used that as momentum to get excited and passionate to really figure this whole thing out and get into it.
Investing is a long-term financial strategy and it's going to take decades for you to see returns.
It could take decades, but the decades are gonna pass whether you invest or not. And wouldn't you rather decades from now have invested and have a good chunk of money than not even bothering with it and having your money be eroded by inflation?
Any investing strategy for someone who is not wealthy is contingent on not having to pull out your investments to cover a life emergency.
Just because there might be a life emergency that you need money for doesn't mean you just keep all your money in cash for that what if scenario. It's better to get it working for you, and if you absolutely need it, you can pull it out. And if we're looking at historical numbers, it probably would have grown for you, so you would have more to work with than had you not invested it.
Another reason why investing is not going to make you rich is that you need money to invest. What a concept. You need money and lots of it.
You need money, but not lots of it. You'll have bigger gains if you have more money, but a little money invested will grow and compound for you just at a slower rate than had you had more.
Investing $5 a day will not make you a millionaire by the time you're 50. It can make you a fraction, a very small fraction of $1 million, but then you have to adjust those numbers for taxes, and inflation.
Okay, well, if you don't invest $5 a day, you won't have anything when you're 50. You're not going to have $1 million, but you'll have something. What if you have $100,000 or $200,000? That can be game changing. It could be the difference of going on a trip in retirement from time to time. Or if you don't do it, inflation is still there, taxes are still there. You might end up only being able to afford to watch TV in retirement because you have no money to travel and you're completely dependent on Social Security, like a large percentage of people are.
I'm sorry to be a buzzkill. We're halfway through the video, but you're never going to be a millionaire. According to the Federal Reserve.
Why would you say that? Like, why would you tell somebody you're never going to be a millionaire? That's so messed up. Yeah, it might be very unlikely, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. It's definitely impossible if you don't try. But I think the pursuit of trying and going after it can be just as valuable as actually getting it, because the lessons you're going to learn along the way and the perspective you're going to have. And also, maybe you fall short of $1 million, but you have 800,000 or 500,000. Like, you're definitely moving in the right direction and giving yourself more and more freedom each step along the way.
Poverty is not a mindset, it's a reality. And people living in poverty cannot change their economic status by changing their thoughts.
You can't change your status with your thoughts, but it's the thoughts that lead to actions, and the actions provide the results. But you've got to have it in your mind first. I really don't want her to discourage you from going after your dreams, from attempting to break the cycle of poverty in your family if you've experienced it like I have. My dad was an alcoholic. He was in and out of jail my entire life until he passed away when I was 16 years old. My mom moved here from India. She met my dad, and of course, her life was absolute chaos. And it's growing up in that situation that led me to changing everything for my mom, for my future, for my children. Poverty ends here. Okay, let's get back to it.
When you are struggling to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have the bandwidth for anything else.
Maybe she didn't have the bandwidth for anything else, but that was the bandwidth for me. That, if that makes sense. Living and struggling and being broke, living paycheck to paycheck, sharing a room with my daughter while my friend slept in the living room. We all shared a 1-bedroom apartment. My daughter was like 7 or 8 years old at this time. It's not like she was a little toddler. I was in it. And that motivated me. Like, I had to do everything in my power in every waking moment to study, to increase my skill set, to talk to people that were wealthy, to step out of my comfort zone, to figure out how to change this, because I was absolutely certain that I did not want to live like that forever. And I understand what she's saying. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed. You don't have the capacity to think about it. But if you don't, you will sit in that position forever. And that is seemingly what she's just saying is the reality, but it doesn't have to be like that. So please dig within yourself to find the motivation. If you do want to change your situation, believe that it is absolutely possible.
Imagine working hard for years to increase your income and not improving your lifestyle. Where's the logic in that? Personal finance YouTubers treat lifestyle inflation as a moral failing, but I'm here to tell you otherwise. Lifestyle inflation is misconstrued as overindulging in frivolous purchases, when in reality, spending more money when you earn more is inevitable. Inflation is at an all-time high and goods and services are more expensive than ever. But I would like to argue that increasing your spending once your income increases can be incredibly beneficial.
Yeah, it makes no sense to work really hard, get your income up there, and then not benefit from it at all. But I think the point is, don't overinflate or don't keep it neck and neck. If your income increases, increase your quality of life, especially if you're in a low quality of life. Get yourself more comfortable, get yourself more safe, but don't over exceed or don't keep it neck and neck. So you know that while you're enjoying your day-to-day life right now, you're also setting your future self up for success. You're not robbing from your future self to just live in this moment right now. You've got to create that surplus so that if an emergency comes up, it doesn't wipe you out completely. You're able to cover some of your costs and you're able to start investing.
How to generate passive streams of income is a popular subset of personal finance YouTube, and that is because Who doesn't want to earn money the easy way? I can make an entire video on why passive income is a fairy tale if you're interested in that. But for now, I want to talk about some of the ideas that these videos suggest.
Passive income isn't a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale if you think it's going to be easy. Yeah, it's not easy. But I think most people know that. If you don't do some things to create a passive income stream for yourself, you'll never have it, versus trying and giving yourself the opportunity. So for the first 5 years when I was investing, I didn't pull a dollar out of that. I just kept putting money in. And granted, I was invested during a rapidly increasing market, but I was able to take money from that to put the down payment on this house that we live in, to start my business.
Ones are offering paid memberships, selling ebooks, content creation, LOL, selling digital products, affiliate marketing, and of course, investing. A critical look at some of these suggestions will tell you that these passive income ideas are actually time consuming and they require an upfront investment of money and time. So if you are someone already working 1 or 2 jobs and barely getting by, sorry, these are not for you.
Why? Like, why? I don't know. I mean, I was a bartender and a bank teller. I had 2 jobs for a year and a half while I studied to become a financial advisor. And all of those things snowballed into me having a lot more freedom and choices now. It didn't happen immediately. Things took a long time and were very hard. Or really, really hard. It was so hard to tuck my daughter in at night and then open up my books and study to midnight or later every single night for a couple of years as I got the certifications and designations that I needed to position myself for a 6-figure job. That then allowed me to save a good chunk of money so that I could invest, so that I could start my business. It's all these small decisions that you make that just build upon themselves, that over time, you will benefit. You will reap the rewards of all this work that you're doing. The fairy tale part of it is the thought that it's going to happen instantly, it's going to happen overnight. No, absolutely not. But it will happen if you're smart, strategic, and you learn along the way.
These personal finance personalities are selling you a dream that is not attainable, and this makes you more susceptible to scams.
There are a lot of scams out there, unfortunately, so you really have to use your brain with this one, and I know you would, so don't fall for things that are get-rich-quick things. If anything seems too good to be true, it probably is, and it's important to do a little digging to see what this person's all about before taking any advice or any of that. So that's my 2 cents on the scam part of it.
One of the personal finance influencers who has become really popular on Instagram, and to my surprise, this creator who has no financial education background, no certification, is charging $300 an hour to coach people into paying off debt, financial planning, and building wealth, of course. Under her list of services, you can find a bunch of these buzzwords, but no actual description of what she can do for you in 1 hour. It's not right. You know how hard it is to come up with $300 an hour for people who are financially unstable?
For her to say that it's not right, it's just, I mean, that's her own mentality. That's her own money mindset issue. So if she doesn't think it's valuable to spend $300 getting one-on-one help with somebody, then she shouldn't do it. Yeah, it is really, really hard to come up with $300 if you're financially unstable. It's really challenging. And if somebody's in that position, they shouldn't be the ones that are paying that $300. There's tons of free resources available for people that aren't able to come up with that cash. But for somebody that has looked through all the free resources, that has started to gain some momentum with their progress and taking actions on things that they've learned for free, the next step might be to pay somebody, especially if you need more accountability and support, you need more specific hand-holding or guidance in an area that you just still feel confused about, or just having that extra person by your side to do the hard thing that can absolutely change the trajectory of your financial future through getting that support. So it is well worth $300 or more than that. And if you want to talk about hard to come up with, think about how quickly the Taylor Swift concert sold out across the country. They broke Ticketmaster. So when people have a desire for something, they find a way to come up with the money for it. And everyone values different things. So it's not up to her to judge people, to shame people for their pricing or for their willingness to invest in themselves. Having access to somebody's time is incredibly valuable, especially if they've gone through things that you've gone through, if they understand your situation and can relate to you. They can give you the tools and info needed in a way that you can receive it. If I'm gonna spend 1 hour with somebody, that means I'm taking away time from creating a YouTube video. I'm taking away time from my 6-month-old daughter, my 19-year-old daughter, and my 3-year-old son, and my husband who I adore. Not to mention just having free time to myself. It has to make sense for me financially as well.
I am not denying the benefits of financial literacy, but you have to be critical of the advice you are receiving.
Definitely consider what the person's incentive is for suggesting something. A lot of people, especially financial advisors in the traditional sense, are tied to specific products. They want you to get into those so that they can receive extra compensation. My hope is that more and more people tap into the power of compounding and investing in a smart way so that you have access to the same tools that wealthy people have access to and can build your wealth. Although it might be a smaller fraction of what other people with a lot of money starting out are able to do, you can still get more money on your side through using the same tools that they use. Let me know in the comments what you think. How do you feel about this topic? Are finance influencers full of it, or do you find the information that you've learned on YouTube and from free resources valuable, or have you found it to be very scammy and a waste of your time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.